What if I told you a man could be murdered in broad daylight, in a corporate parking garage, surrounded by cameras, and no one would see it happen? Not because the cameras were broken, but because someone made sure they couldn't see. This wasn't random. This wasn't sudden. This was planned, carefully, patiently. So tell me about, getting the call that night. What did you get exactly as far as the call? The caller's information stated that this would be the parking garage where the victim's phone was located. So this is the parking garage right here. This is the parking garage to my left, yes. And what level was the car parked then? The car was parked on the second level. So like right about there. Yeah, it's right. You can kind of see it right behind these traffic lights, essentially. When Lieutenant Lin entered the garage, he immediately spotted a black Honda Civic. The figure sitting behind the wheel didn't look alive, but it didn't seem right either. Was it a nap or something more sinister? He walked closer. A slight tilt of the head, the unmistakable signs of discoloration near the neck. A chill ran down his spine. I thought maybe this person was just taking a nap, but I saw the discoloration around the neck. I decided to knock on the window, and when there was no response, I radioed in. He was likely deceased. Kenneth Fandrich, a contractor for Intel, had been found in his car. He looked peaceful, but something was terribly wrong. His body was positioned too neatly, too still. His hands gently placed in his lap, but his lifelessness told a far different story. Siren wails. This was no accident. This was murder. Intel, the tech giant, sat just outside Portland, Oregon. One of the biggest names in tech, but tonight its parking garage became the backdrop for something far darker than anyone could have imagined. When police arrived, they found no visible signs of violence, no struggle. The scene didn't make sense. Kenny's lunch, his keys, his phone, all neatly placed beside him. The detectives had no answers, yet. We always treat it as a homicide right away, even when we don't have all the facts. But what they did have were surveillance cameras, and soon they'd uncover something that made the case even more disturbing than they could have imagined. We got a call from Intel Security, and the first thing they told us, someone was going around spray painting cameras in the garage. A figure masked, hidden under the guise of a black safety hat and tinted glasses, had been systematically covering up the eyes of the surveillance cameras. He wasn't just vandalizing, he was preparing, hiding his tracks. He had planned this, carefully, and now the clock was ticking for the detectives to unravel the mystery. He's obviously in disguise, wearing safety glasses, a black mask. It's clear he's trying to hide. He knows exactly what he's doing. And then came the flashing lights. What was once a quiet parking garage became the stage for a brutal act. Lights flashing, shadows moving. That's when the murder occurred. In real time, as the masked figure began his assault, the lights flashed, signaling that the victim had been pulled from his car. We think that's when the person in the van is murdering Kenneth. Kenneth Fandrich's life was stolen in that parking garage. His body left in his car as if it was meant to look like a peaceful death. But it was anything but. We were left with one question: who would do something like this? Who would take a life in such a calculated way? The investigation took a new turn when Intel Security revealed a similar incident a month earlier. Another person had been spray painting cameras in the garage. Another clue, another mystery to solve. We found footage from a month earlier. Same man, same disguise, same method. But this time they had something new, a clue no one expected. A small detail from the footage, a crease on the man's forehead. It was the tiniest of details, but it was enough to make the case more personal, more dangerous. It wasn't much, but it was enough. That forehead crease, it was a key. But as detectives dug deeper, they uncovered another shocking twist. Tanya Fandrich, Kenny's wife, revealed something to them. Something that seemed unrelated, yet connected in a way no one had foreseen. Tanya had been stalked by someone she knew well, her old boss, Dr. Stephen Milner. Dr. Milner, a wealthy veterinarian, had once been Tanya's boss, but their professional relationship had turned personal in ways that would later prove deadly. Tanya had an affair with Milner, and when it ended, he couldn't let go. He couldn't let her go. Tanya had tried to move on, but Milner's obsession deepened, and his stalking escalated. The detectives learned that Milner had been following Tanya and Kenny for years, tracking their every move. In the dead of night, under the cover of darkness, Milner crept around their property, hiding in the shadows, always watching. We found tracking devices, love notes, and worse. We found obsession. Dr. Milner wasn't just after Tanya, he was after control. The affair began in 2017. Tanya and Milner's secret relationship had been exposed when Kenny caught them. That's when Milner's harassment began, but Milner didn't give up easily. His obsession only grew. After the affair ended, Milner's harassment only escalated. He was stalking Kenny, following him, threatening him. It consumed their lives. Tanya eventually left Milner's clinic, but Milner continued to track Kenny. Detectives found plenty of evidence of exactly how he did it. Tanya actually provided this to us, and this is one of the actual tracking devices that Stephen Milner had placed on one of their vehicles. In August 2019, roughly 2 years after Tanya said she ended the affair, Kenny applied for an order of protection against Milner. But detectives would learn the harassment continued, and the vet's infatuation with Tanya deepened. He wanted Tanya, and he wasn't going to stop. Within days of Kenny Fandrich's death, investigators set their sights on a suspect, veterinarian Dr. Stephen Milner. Detectives learned he was obsessed with Tanya. There were love notes. So one of them was, "The one absolute rock-solid truth is that I love you. I have never loved anyone that way. I am consumed by your soul." He wrote letters like that for years, even after Tanya had said the affair was over. Detectives also learned more about Tanya's relationship with her husband, Kenny. It was a tumultuous relationship. Alcohol came into play between them. They were often, as you can say, hot and cold. They argued a lot. Kenny had been charged with domestic violence years before, but the charges were not pursued and the couple reconciled. Then, in August 2021, years after Tanya says she ended the affair with Milner, the couple had another fight. This time, she was arrested. The next day, something surprising happened. Somebody posted her bail. She had a $25,000 bail. When she leaves the jail, Stephen Milner is in the parking lot waiting for her. Tanya told investigators she ended up staying with the doctor for a couple of days before returning to Kenny. She insisted nothing romantic happened. Milner was just helping her out as a friend. To this day, none of us can figure out how Stephen Milner actually found out she had been arrested that night. That case was later dismissed, and the couple reunited again. But Milner's campaign of harassment continued. What do you think his end goal was? What did he think he could do? End their marriage and then end up happily ever after with Tanya? Exactly. Yeah, we think that's what his plan was. He wanted Kenneth out of the picture so he could be that white knight to save Tanya. In March of 2022, just 10 months before Kenny's murder, Milner followed Kenny from Oregon City all the way to Hillsborough, a 45-minute drive. Kenny spotted him and called the police, and Milner was pulled over as body cameras captured the interaction. The responding officer learned from dispatch that there was history between the two men. Milner told police he believed Tanya was in danger because she had allegedly told him Kenny was abusive. So thank you. After that traffic stop, Kenny filed for a new order for protection. The original one had expired years earlier. Kenny was absolutely in fear of his life. And 2 weeks later, he was so stressed out, he told police he crashed his car. Kenny's attorney says his client had every reason to be stressed out. Kenny told me that Milner said, "Hey, I'm a veterinarian. I've done surgeries and I have the tools to chop you up into little pieces." In August of 2022, after Kenny found another tracking device under his car, Milner was criminally charged and was awaiting trial. It was pretty clear to me that Milner was not in his right mind. Just a month later, Kenny filed a civil suit seeking hundreds of thousands of dollars for invasion of privacy and infliction of emotional distress, allegedly brought on by Milner's stalking, harassment, and trespass. 5 months later, Kenny Fandrich was dead. Just days after the murder, detectives were convinced that Stephen Milner was the man behind the mask, but they needed more evidence. We need to get eyes on Stephen Milner because we know there was some sort of violent confrontation. We want to see if he had any injuries. Not wanting to tip him off, investigators asked him to come in for a check-in about the stalking case. We arranged a meeting for Stephen to come in to sign some paperwork. Detective Winter was inside at a reception desk. And your goal's sitting there at the receptionist desk, sort of as an undercover, right? Ma'am, yeah, I wanted to see if he had any injury to himself. He walks in. He looks extremely nervous. Another person in the office noticed something. She says, "Hey, he's got makeup on his face." Makeup, investigators say, Milner used to cover up a scratch on his nose. Bingo, you're thinking, we got our guy. Yep, at that point I thought, this is him. This is our guy that did this. Moments later, after Milner walked out the door, on January 31, 2023, 4 days after Kenny Fandrich was found dead, Stephen Milner was taken into custody, and within days, charged with second-degree murder and stalking. With Milner in custody, detectives Rigo and Winter were quickly able to connect one important clue from those surveillance camera images: that unusual crease in the masked man's forehead. There's that very prominent forehead crease that he couldn't hide if he tried. There's no amount of makeup hiding that crease. No. Do you feel at this point you've got like a pretty solid case? We had a lot of circumstantial pieces, like putting the puzzle together, but we are just at the tip of the iceberg of what we still need to find out. More puzzle pieces would be found in Milner's house. It was shocking that somebody this successful, a doctor, now suspect in a murder. With Dr. Stephen Milner now in police custody, Hillsborough detectives Stephanie Winter and Devin Rigo set out to find evidence that could prove Milner was at the scene when Kenny Fandrich was murdered. As soon as he's arrested, we're getting search warrants for his DNA to be taken. Hands behind your back, please. We're getting search warrants for his house as well. And detectives weren't quite prepared for what they found at his home. We found a cardboard cutout behind a mirror of Stephen Milner's face, placed on a very oiled, masculine man with a dog paw tattoo over his heart. Very odd memorabilia to have in your bedroom. Yes, I would say so. And there was more. In the nightstand in Stephen's master bedroom is a bunch of items that we kind of refer to as a shrine to Tanya. There was a framed picture of Tanya. There were love notes. There were women's underwear, just like, very like personal keepsakes from their relationship together. That's more than just collecting a few love notes and cards, especially from someone who hadn't been in a relationship with you for several years at this time period. To build their case, investigators needed to connect the maroon-colored minivan seen in the Intel parking garage parked next to Kenny's car to Milner. But as far as investigators could determine, right now you're being detained. Milner usually drove the white Toyota SUV he'd been in when he was arrested. Initially, we didn't know what evidence this car could provide us. So they ordered an FBI forensic analysis of the SUV's computer, hoping it might provide some clues about Milner's movements before and after Kenny's murder. Essentially, the computer that's in the car retains a lot of information, and luckily, one of those things is like GPS data points. Where was that bit of information? Is that a computer that's pulled out on top there? Yeah, so that's part of the front dash. And then it was just a little motherboard type thing that had a chip in it. Within weeks, they got a call from their digital expert. She said, "You guys need to look at the Home Depot in Oregon City. He's there a lot the day of the murder." Home Depot, just 15 minutes down the road from Milner's house. How central did this place become towards the piecing together the evidence that you had? Like this was essentially like center stage of the investigation. The detectives asked Home Depot security personnel if there had been suspicious activity in the lot recently. Amazingly, they said yes. 2 cars, a maroon minivan and a blue sedan, had been flagged for parking there for long periods of time, with only temporary paper license plates. And we learned that there had been a lot of calls created in the past couple months with a suspicious blue car and a maroon minivan. For the second time in a matter of weeks, parking lot security cameras and the images they recorded would provide investigators with key clues. In this clip from January 27, 2023, the day of Kenny's murder, detectives say you can see Milner's white SUV pull up and park. Within minutes, the driver, believed to be Stephen Milner, gets into the maroon minivan. Another camera then captured the minivan exiting the parking lot. What was he doing with the cars? So essentially, this was like his staging location. So he would drive his personal car here and then either pick up the blue sedan or the maroon minivan and then drive that out to Hillsborough. What do you call them? Burner cars. Burner cars. Yeah, everybody kind of is more familiar with like a burner phone, where you have a phone that's not traced to you, but you know you can use it for what you need, get rid of it. Essentially, he did the same thing but with a car. Investigators believed Milner may have been using those burner cars to secretly follow Kenny to work, even after law enforcement had told him to stop. They also learned Home Depot security cameras had images of the driver of those cars shopping in the store about a month before Kenny was murdered. He parked right in front of Home Depot. He went in, and then we saw him come to the self-checkout area, and he had bought a pair of, like, safety glasses. Was his face visible in that surveillance? It was, yeah. Oh yeah. There was no doubt it was Stephen Milner, and those glasses he bought, detectives say you can see them in his right hand as he exited the store. The receipt said they had a red mirror tint. Detective Winter had an idea. We just happened to be sitting near one of the aisles, and I was like, I'm going to go see where they sell the glasses. And then a couple boxes down was a yellow hard hat that looked very similar to the one that he was wearing in all of the Intel garage surveillance. The detectives were convinced this was where Milner had gotten his disguise to kill Kenny. You have all of this, but you were missing one big piece of evidence. What was it? We were, at this point, still missing the maroon minivan. Why is the minivan so important? Because it's the minivan that we believe was really our main crime scene. We thought there was going to be forensic evidence in that minivan, so we really wanted to get that minivan to help really put the icing on this case. Detective Rigo was laser focused on tracking down that maroon minivan, and he got an incredibly lucky break. When those suspicious burner cars had been flagged, the VIN number was also recorded. Rigo searched it and found out that van had been found abandoned just a few days after the murder. The highway people had towed it off the side of the I-5 in North Portland. It had been dumped. It had been dumped there, so I called the tow company. Hey, do you have this car? No, sorry, we sold it to a scrap metal company. Detective Rigo knew The clock was ticking to retrieve what he believed was the crime scene and all of the key evidence it held. So me and another detective drive as quick as we can to North Portland. But they were too late. When he asked about the minivan, the scrapyard showed Rigo this video. This is that maroon minivan. Police believe Milner drove to the Intel garage to kill Kenny, just moments before it was pulverized by the metal jaws of the scrapyard claw. I was able to watch one of my key pieces of evidence be crushed and taken away. Before your very eyes. Before my very eyes. Oh my gosh. Exactly a week too late. On January 13, 2025, Stephen Milner went on trial, charged with stalking and murdering Kenny Fandrich. Washington County prosecutors John Gerhardt and Mahalie Streblow knew they faced a challenge without that maroon minivan, where they believe Stephen Milner murdered Kenny. All the evidence that was inside the van was lost with it. The biggest disappointment for us is there was likely a lot of forensic evidence. But prosecutors had some forensic evidence they say put Stephen Milner at the scene. DNA from swabs taken of Kenny Fandrich's hands. I remember getting an email of the results and immediately opening it and being like, oh my gosh, this is it. Stephen Milner's DNA was on Kenneth Fandrich's hands. Now you really felt like you had your case made. Yes, because there's no way he could explain away why his DNA would have been on Kenneth's body. Stephen Milner would have an explanation for that. To everyone's surprise, Milner took the stand, admitting he did spray paint the cameras and was in the Intel garage waiting for Kenny. He presented what detectives believed was a far-fetched explanation. He was trying to save Tanya. There were no cameras in court, but there is audio of Milner telling prosecutor John Gerhardt why he was in the Intel lot that day. He had this delusional belief that he needed to protect Tanya Fandrich. The defense case, it seemed to be to kind of get the jury to maybe feel sympathetic to Milner. And Milner insisted it was Kenny who attacked him after Kenny spotted Stephen Milner inside the maroon minivan. Stephen essentially said, well, I knew I was caught, so I opened the door to kind of confront him, and then Kenneth attacked me. Prosecutor John Gerhardt challenged Milner's self-defense story. His testimony just didn't line up with the physical evidence at the scene. To my knowledge, bumping your head on a car door is not going to break your neck. After 6 hours of deliberations, the jury found Stephen Milner guilty of murdering Kenny Fandrich and multiple stalking charges. Cameras were allowed for Stephen Milner's sentencing hearing, which took place on February 18, 2025. Sir, can you stand up? Tanya, who asked not to be shown on camera, gave a powerful statement directed at Stephen Milner. Prosecutor Mahalie Streblow read us her words. All you had to do was stop. Hear me clearly when I say you are a vengeful, deceptive, manipulating, self-serving, aggressive, hateful, lying predator, and all you had to do was stop. Stephen Milner was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Milner did not respond to our request for an interview. This case highlights the very worst-case scenario. Take stalking seriously. Kenny's attorney, Michael Fuller, says what happened highlights the limits of the system that is supposed to protect victims of stalking. Kenny called the police. When that didn't work, he got a lawyer. Kenny did everything he could under the legal system, and it didn't help him at all. After Kenny's death, Fuller filed a wrongful death suit on behalf of Kenny's estate, asking for damages of several $million. Fuller believes Milner made millions from real estate investments and the sale of his business. In the wrongful death case, my goals are to extract as much money as we can out of Milner. If the estate recovered any money for Kenny, it would go to his wife. For Milner's former veterinary clients, Cheryl and Darlin, it was hard to reconcile the doctor they knew with a now-convicted murderer. I could not believe that it was the same guy. I just believe that he ended up going through some type of psychosis, and I think that at some point he snapped. I think it really gets down to, like, you never know what anybody is capable of. You never know what monster might be inside. Almost a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. Absolutely. Yeah. He had everything to live for. You know, he could do anything he wanted to do, and this is where it ended up. It's real sad. If you're captivated by stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more gripping true crime stories. We bring you chilling cases, shocking twists, and the real stories behind the headlines. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your journey into the unknown starts here.